Your children are under attack, and they've been under attack for quite some time by an education system that is designed to indoctrinate them in radical gender theory and also teaching them highly inappropriate sexual content. Now, let me reiterate, this is not an attack on the trans or LGBT plus community. If, as an adult, you want to make choices of your own about your own life, more power to you, you're entitled to that. So long as you're not impinging on the rights of anybody else. What we're saying here today is leave children out of it. Leave their young, impressionable minds away from predators and groomers. The school education system is rife with child grooming woke activist teachers. And if you don't believe me, have a look at a report from the Institute of Public Affairs in 2021, who did a report on activism in schools. Now, that was in 2021. The situation is a lot graver now. They are deliberately targeting your children. They are deliberately teaching them inappropriate sexual teachings on directions from the World Health Organization. Now, the World Health Organization put out a document, Standards for Sexuality Education in Europe. That same document and the content of that document is being taught in schools here in this country, as well as this state, obviously. But not only high schools and primary schools, also early childhood centres and daycare centres as well. And when you have a document, I'm just going to hold that up, but when you have a document that states it is a standard for education, if you don't believe me, you can research this yourself, it is a standard for education to teach and talk about masturbation to 0 to 4-year-olds. Disgusting. And Jacinta Allan condones it all. While she's killing our farmers and our farming industry, she's also killing our children's innocence. Jacinta Allan is happy for child groomers, and let's be honest and call it what it is. If you are a teacher that condones children being taught the sexual content they're being taught, you are not a teacher, you are a predator.
Yes,
Make no mistake about it. Our children are being taught about masturbation in daycare centres. Our children are being taught about radicalised gender theory that is saturated in the school curriculum. Now, as parents, excuse me, as parents, you have the law on your side. Yeah, that'd be great, but I don't know where I'm going from time to time, so there's no rhyme or reason. There's just so much content to talk about, it really is. So you have the federal legislation on your side. Now, most parents in the community do not want this content taught to their children. They do not, and they've openly stated this. But please, take it from me, who has spent the last 20 years of my life working with youth in this state, primary school and high school aged youth, as a mentor, facilitating life skills programs, working on children's resilience, that is crushed by the system, even set aside the radical gender theory that's rammed down their throats. 15 years in the education system I spent, 10 years on an education department contract. I know the system well. These teachers, especially these woke grooming teachers, will lie to your face, and they are lying to your face. Please hear me on this. They're also getting really cunning now, hiding the information. As a parent, you have the right to ask and demand. Actually, we don't ask, we demand. We require. We don't request, we require. So let's start changing the language, what we're using to these child groomers. You're required to be given the content your child is taught. That is your right. Because you have federal legislation to back you up and international guidelines. Now, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights is an international agreement that Australia is a signatory to. The ICCPR has also been scheduled and codified into the Australian Human Rights Commission Act 1986. That means it is part of federal legislation. So any breach of any article of the ICCPR, you are in breach of federal legislation and can be charged. And they know that. We've been campaigning on this for the last year. They know that. Jacinta Allan knows that. So what do? They are deliberately hiding... Excuse me. They are deliberately hiding the information when parents ask for it now. It's either given to them and it's redacted. Now, when you give someone a document or some content and that content is half redacted of the content that is your child is being taught, that's a bit suspicious, isn't it? That is communism, exactly. Article 18, Section 4 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights states, the states parties to the present covenant undertake to have respect for the liberty of parents and, when applicable, legal guardians. Now here's the kicker: to ensure the religious and moral education of their children in conformity with their own convictions. That's black and white. That is federal legislation. So if parents have the right to say, I do not want radical gender theory taught to my child, I do not want highly sexualised content, i.e. teaching masturbation to 4-year-olds, I don't want that taught to my child. Now if the teachers continue to teach it, they should be being charged as a federal offence. That is the law. If you don't believe me, research it yourself. You can find all this information. Just grab a flyer as you walk past, please. Leaveourkidsalone.org, kids with a Z. We are here to inform you today of the facts that the Allan government, under her direction, Ben Carroll, who's the Education Minister, the Deputy Premier of this communist state, Jacinta fully knows what's happening. Jacinta fully knows the direction the Education Department has given the schools to hide this information. Also, when parents are requesting the information, that third-party providers such as Elephant Ed, research Elephant Ed. Elephant Ed are a child grooming third-party operator that is allowed in schools to teach your children. There's some evidence on our website, Leave Our Kids Alone, that a parent secretly recorded online the information that one of the facilitators from Elephant Ed openly and proudly said they talk about, and this is confronting. This is not meant to disturb or offend anyone, but this is what they're talking to your kids about. Anal sex, oral sex. Well, they're teaching them in school. That's what they're teaching in school. And so on. Jacinta Allan informed the Education Minister to inform the Education Department to hide this information from parents. Are you slightly concerned? You should be. These are your children. If we, as a society...
She's 66 years old. She's Janine Scott. That's her real name.
She's what?
She's a fraud.
Absolutely she's a fraud, sir. Absolutely she's a fraud.
Hey, Daddy, come closer, mate.
Where are we as a society if we cannot protect our children? Now, I know you will get lied to. What the teachers are also doing and what the schools are also doing, now that a lot of parents are catching on and requesting the information, as I just said, they are hiding it, or they're saying we can't provide this information because it infringes against copyright laws. It's a third-party operator. That is absolute a lie and nonsense. It doesn't infringe on copyright laws whatsoever because you are just reading it. You are not reproducing it. But they're hiding this information when parents ask for it, giving the excuse it breaches copyright laws. Once again, a lie. But we expect lies from Jacinta Allan's government. They lied to us and locked us all down under a curfew that was on no medical advice. And when she was confronted about it, she laughed. Jacinta Allan laughed about the fact that she lied, was part of the committee that lied to the whole state about locking us down. She lied. She is a liar, a coward,
And a traitor.
and a traitor to this state and country. Excuse me. Just off point from the kids issue, but it's all in context. Jacinta Allan is happy. Steve,
Can you call up on your phone, because I can't do it on phone, the Rainmaking Control Act 1967, just so I can read that, thanks.
Jacinta Allan once again is lying. She's happy. Yeah, she might be making a trip to Colac today to, make an appearance to talk to the farmers like she's interested in doing something. It's just window dressing, as we know. She couldn't give a damn. If she gave a damn about the farmers, she would declare drought areas, but she won't. Because she is another puppet for the World Health Organization and the global agenda, Agenda 2030, where they want no primary production, all genetically modified food. A little bit off the kids issue, but it's all in context. Jacinta Allan is happy, and you can see this on the Leave Our Kids Alone website. On the Own Education Department website, it states, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, that if a child wishes to transition to the opposite sex, they may do so without parental knowledge or consent. I kid you not. Jacinta Allan is happy for children, underage children, to be given puberty blockers, harmful puberty blockers that are irreversible. You're being lied to. All this information you can find on the Leave Our Kids Alone website. Please come and take a flyer and have a look for yourself. Now, once again, this is not an attack on the LGBT community. If you are an adult and want to make whatever choices you want, more power to you. Stop brainwashing our kids with this stuff and stop lying to parents about it. How dare you? You're having third-party facilitators now going into primary schools, indoctrinating and brainwashing primary school-aged children on what pronouns they should be using. They want the rest of society for us to buy into their illusion. They're not happy with just them doing them and us doing us. They want to indoctrinate and brainwash your children. All under the banner of diversity and inclusion. Primary school age children do not need to be taught about masturbation. Primary school age children don't need to be taught about nude role playing. Don't believe me? Fine, research it yourself. Go to a website, and this is on the Leave Our Kids Alone page, go to a website, raisingchildren.net.au. Go to the toddlers section, development, it's all there. All there. I was alerted by a parent of a 3.5-year-old daughter who was told, not informed, not asked, told, this is what we will be teaching your 3.5-year-old daughter, and gave some links to the site. And when you go on that site and have a look, you would be horrified what they are speaking to young 3 and 4-year-olds about. All under the guise of diversity and inclusion. So they try to guilt trip you if you don't agree by saying, oh, well, you're not being diverse, you're not being inclusive, you're being a bigot. Guilt trip, guilt trip, guilt trip. Gaslighting. That's what they work on. Please heed my warning on this. As I've stated before, I've worked for 20 years with youth in this community. 15 years in the education system. I know the system well. It stinks. And they are grooming your children and lying to your face about it. Please hear me on this. If you do not heed my warning, your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews are all in grave danger. They already are. We're not out here just for the hell of it. We're not out here because I've got nothing to do on a Friday afternoon. These good people here standing here with me are the same. We'd be much rather be doing something else. Stringing Jacinta Allan up by the neck would be one of them.
You're doing well, mate. You're doing well.
Thank you, sir. We're out here because we're concerned about our youth. That is the future of this country, our youth. Now, they've already been traumatised, being locked down away from their friends during COVID, which, as we found out, and many of us at the time were saying was unnecessary, we've all found out since that was unnecessary. And kids had been traumatised with that, still suffering PTSD, a lot of them, still traumatised. As soon as they were back in the school system, they were bombarded with this radical gender theory. Yes, it was being taught pre-COVID, but they really put it into fifth gear since. As well as the highly sexualised content. Our kids are suffering enough. They're also sneaking this in to the curriculum. And this is how sneaky they're getting about it, because they've been made aware they're in breach of federal legislation if teachers teach this content against their parents' wishes. We should start getting a few of these teachers charged. What do you say? Absolutely, and they will be. But they're trying to counteract that now by hiding the information. Just lost my train of thought for 6 quick. Has anyone got any points they'd like me to make? Covering it all? Cool.
Oh, you've covered them all, mate.
All right. Always take requests. Yeah, the Kinsey stuff.
And also our governments themselves, like there's freedom of information to say, is our Parliament of Victoria,
Yeah, well, we know all that. It's not. Yeah, exactly. So the teachers are aware that the parents and people like us, and there's many other good people, check out a website, leaveourkidsalone.org. Come and collect a flyer, please. Just take 2 minutes of your time to come over and grab a flyer and do a quick search yourself. All the information's there. Do you care about our children or not? Or are you going to let animals like Jacinta Allan destroy their innocence. And she is an animal. How dare she rob our children's innocence so she can have her own ideology passed on to your children. Jacinta Allan is happy, like I said before, your children to be transitioned without your knowledge or consent. Jacinta Allan is happy for children to be put on puberty blockers without your consent. The effects are irreversible. We're told a lie. We're told by the trans activists that if you don't let your child transition, they're likely to commit suicide. That is a lie. That is a lie. There's research to show from the University of Texas, it's on the Leave Our Kids Alone website, a 16 million case study, that's a fair amount of people, showed that that is a lie, and that children that go through the transition process are actually 12 times more likely to commit suicide. That's the facts. That's statistics. Jacinta Allan is lying to you. Jacinta Allan is happy for your children to go through body mutilating surgery that once they regret what they've done, Jacinta Allan and her likes wash their hands of these children because they're no longer useful to their agenda. Jacinta Allan is a black-souled, evil life form who should not be in charge of this state. Wouldn't even let her in charge of the local bingo centre. We nearly witnessed an accident there. Lucky you stopped there, sir. Come and grab a flyer, mate. Have you got kids? Have you got nieces? Have you got a heart? Well done. So please come and grab a flyer. As I said, your children are under attack. Your children, just bear with me for a moment. Oh, see the... One other lie, this is not about the kids issue, but just provides context of the lies and the lack of care of this Jacinta Allan government and the Labor government as well too. The Labor government are not for the workers and have not been for the workers for decades. That may have been the case once, but that's far from the case now. They are a woke, socialist organisation. That's what the Labor Party is. Now, in this state, we have what's called a Rainmaking Control Act 1967. It's in force. You can research it yourself. Just type in Rainmaking Control Act 1967. There is no reason for any farmer in this state to be drought affected. No reason. They can make it rain. The Rainmaking Control Act 1967 shows you that. Now this is based on technology back in 67. You can only imagine the technology they have now. And I'll read this to you. Rainmaking. Rainmaking operation means the seeding or nucleating of clouds by artificial means from a manned aircraft. Apparently that's a conspiracy. Nucleating the clouds means making the clouds form. Now, this was brought up years ago to politicians, and they laughed at this and scoffed and said, oh, no, to make it rain, you actually need the clouds to be able to see. That's a lie. One of the plethora of lies this Allan government and other Labor governments and Liberal governments, while we're at it, tell people. Oh, shit, mate, I lost it. Sorry, guys, bear with me. Section 3 of the Rainmaking Control Act. Authority to carry out rainmaking operations. Wherever it appears to the Minister That's the Minister for the Environment, that would be, Steve Demopoulos. Whenever it appears to the Minister to be desirable in the public interest to promote rainfall, that would be drought, wouldn't it? Or otherwise modify natural cloud processes in any part of Victoria. A, for improving primary production, either generally or locally, and whether with respect to one or more than one primary product. Tick. Are we in that situation at the moment? Yes. Why aren't they invoking the Rainmaking Control Act? B, for improving water shortages either generally or locally. C, for reducing fire danger in a forest area. D, for any other sufficient purpose. Pretty crystal clear. They can make it rain. There is no reason for any farmer in this state to be drought affected. Section 8 of the Rainmaking Control Act. Cloud seeding in Victoria to induce rainfall in another state. At the request of the Minister of an adjoining state administering any act corresponding with this act, the Minister may authorise rainmaking operations to be carried out in Victoria to promote rainfall in the adjoining states. There you go. So those bushfires we had in 2019 that decimated the east coast of Victoria and New South Wales, those bastards could have made it rain, and they didn't. And they were asked about it at the time, and they said, oh, there was no clouds, we couldn't see them. Well, as we know, that's a lie. You can nucleate the clouds out of nothing. It's in the Act. Now, that was from 1967. As I said before, the technology's a lot greater now. These are the lies this treacherous traitor Allan government tells us. And the disdain she has. Forget going down to Colac today, smoozing up to the farmers like you give a damn. The fact that you've deferred the fire tax levy for a year isn't good enough, because after the day Jacinta Allan put that levy on, 17 farmers took their lives. 17 farmers took their lives. And now, a week after that's happened, she says she's going to delay it for a year. Well, it's no good to those 17 farmers that took their lives. Jacinta Allan, their blood is on your hands. Disgraceful. So you're destroying our farms and you're attacking our children. I'm going to read you something here. It's disgusting, but we can't ignore the elephant in the room. This is a document called Band-Aids and Boiled Lollies. It's a bit disturbing, even the header. This was a journal written by Gary Dowsett in the 80s for a Gay Information magazine. Now, once again, okay, if you're an adult and you want to make whatever lifestyle choices you want, that's fine. Stop telling our kids about it. Gary Dowsett is the co-founder of an organisation called ARCSIS, Australian Research Centre for Sex, Health and Society. He co-founded it. ARCSIS wrote the Safe Schools program. The Safe Schools program was shut down in New South Wales because of the content in that in the Safe Schools program. So what did they do? They repackaged it, relabelled it and called it Respectful Relationships. It's the same thing. It's the same content. So when you hear respectful relationships, drag your kids out at 100 miles an hour. Because this, and I'm sorry to read this in public, but you need to hear it. Now this is written from Gary Dowsett, the co-author of the Safe Schools policy. Gary Dowsett wrote the Safe Schools policy, basically. Now, the Education Department denied that. He peer-reviewed 95% of it. So that basically means he wrote it himself. and wrote the other 5. He's out of La Trobe University. You want to do some research on the sorts of people they've got lecturing at La Trobe University. Steve Angelidis, one of the people in charge of the Safe Schools program in Victoria, is a lecturer out of La Trobe University as well too. He's got links to pedophilia as well as Gary Dowsett. Oh, that's nonsense, Craig. Really? Well, have a listen to this. And this is only one document he wrote. Now, I've read this hundreds of times and it just doesn't get any better. Nor should it. This is what Gary Dowsett said. Gary Dowsett is responsible for writing Respectful Relationships, which was Safe Schools. They reparcelled it. And you can actually see, I'll get on with it in a minute, but you actually see where this sexual indoctrination of our kids comes from. And if you think that 4-year-olds need to be spoken to about masturbation, you're part of the problem and you're a sick child groomer yourself. Many mothers and some fathers will agree that children, now this is not my words, this is Gary Dowsett. Many mothers and some fathers will agree that children are sexual and generate sexual responses in their parents. Cuddling, breastfeeding, bathing together, playing, kissing and fondling kids are immensely pleasurable activities for them and for us. And it is not uncommon to feel sexually aroused by that closeness, that touch and that love. How different then is that gentle, tentative sexuality between parent and child from the love of a pedophile and his or her lover?
Sick.
That, and I'm not going to call him a gentleman because he's far from it, that is the person that is responsible for providing the content that your children are being taught. And you're going to keep accepting it. Not you people, I know that's why you're here, but this is the conversation you need to start having with your friends. They cannot bury their head in the sand on this anymore. They just can't. I've worked in the school system for 15 years. Facilitated programs across Victoria in many schools. I've worked in over 200 schools. Oh, that's a bit of a stretch, you might say. Really? I worked in 5 to 10 schools a term over 15 years. You do the math on that. I've sat in staff rooms and overheard conversations. I've been in meetings with teachers. They will lie to your face. They will lie to your face to save their own career. Please hear me on this. Now, I know you think, oh, you know, no, not Mrs. Brown. She's lovely. And how well do you know Mrs. Brown? You know her for 5 minutes when you pick up your child and drop them off, and once a term at a parent-teacher meeting. And they smile and they'll be nice and lovely the whole time they're grooming your child behind your back. And for the kids that don't jump on board and the kids that push back and make a voice about it, they are victimised and bullied by woke teaching staff. Please heed my warning on this. So what can you do? If you go to the leaveourkidsalone.org site, there is an article in the resources section, guidance for parents. There is a letter informing, I'll read this again. There's a letter informing that you can send to the principal, informing the principal and the teacher that if they continue to teach this content, they are in breach of federal legislation. Once again, for the benefit of those who have just joined us now, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights is an international agreement that Australia is a signatory to. The ICCPR has been added, scheduled and codified into the Australian Human Rights Commission Act 1986. That's federal act, that's federal legislation. So what that means is any article of the ICCPR that is breached, you are in breach of federal legislation and should be rightfully charged. Now, Article 18, Section 4 clearly states, the states parties to the present covenant undertake to have respect for the liberty of parents and, when applicable, legal guardians, to ensure the religious and moral education of their children in conformity with their own convictions. Black and white. There's a letter you can download on the Leave Our Kids Alone website, sign it, give it to your principal, and let them know. We're also in the final stages, and that should be up in the next week, of formulating a cease and desist notice that you can hand deliver to your principal and your teacher that comes with a notice of liability. So that basically means that if they teach your child any content where your child, are you getting all this down inside, are you? We're coming. I told you we're not going to relent. You woke bastards. You child grooming bastards. You're sitting there and you laugh and you groom children. You are predators and child groomers. That's all you are. That's what you condone. You're sick, woke individuals. I'm being nice too.
Well said, mate. Well said.
Notice the liability means that if any teacher teaches your child any content that they suffer a mental health with down the track, the teacher can be personally, civilly prosecuted. And we'll start that to happen. So your woke teachers in there, you troglodytes inside Jacinta Allan's office, you groomers of children, you condoners of child abuse, you can be as smug as you like and try as much underhanded tactics as you like. The wall's about to break. We implore you to start having conversations with your children about what they were taught at school. Ask them what they learned at school today. Now, 20 years knowledge of working with young children, you've got to preface it by saying the child's done nothing wrong. You're not in trouble, okay, but you need, mum and dad want to talk to you about what you're learning, because we believe we have to agree, as law is, what you get taught, we agree with. Maybe preface it by saying that as just a suggestion. You know how to talk to your child better than I do. I'm just saying, because what is happening in schools is the children are being groomed by these teachers to say, believe me, this is happening because I've had numerous reports of this. Don't go home and tell your mum and dad because they're old-fashioned and they won't understand. They are coaching your children. What they're also doing is, because they know they're in breach of federal legislation if they teach this against your parents' wishes, what they're doing now is putting this stuff in other subjects. I'll give you an example. There was a young fella, year 11 student, contacted Ben Fordham. It was on the Ben Fordham show up in Sydney. Now you might say, oh, that's in Sydney, doesn't happen here. Yes, it does. We are the worst state for this. As part of an English literature, they were asked to write an essay on the movie The Matrix. But here's the kicker, they were asked to write it as if they were viewing it from the eyes of a trans person. This is how they're sneaking this information in and sneaking this content in to the school curriculum. And they will lie straight to your face. So what can you do? Start having conversations, as I wrap it up. Start having conversations with your friends. Share the website leaveourkidsalone.org. There's a flyer here, come and grab one please. Go to the resources section, there's numerous articles. indefenseofchildren.org is another website you can look at. So a colleague of mine, Tess Hackett, has been pushing back against this agenda for 9 years. She had her daughter brainwashed and transitioned against her will and behind her back. This is happening. The attack is increasing. If we do nothing, our children are lost. Lost for good. Lost forever. Because to unindoctrinate them from this crap, a lot of them think this is normal because they're led to believe it's normal. We've got to start educating them it's not normal. We will not allow our children to be subjected and indoctrinated with a radical gender theory. It's even labelled theory. There's no fact behind it. Now, once again, if you are of the belief that there are 657 genders and you have to use pronouns to introduce yourself and that girls can have a penis and men can have babies, if you're of that belief, that's fine. That's your lot in life. You do not have the right to then enforce that belief on innocent children. At all. Who the hell do you think you are? Innocent children being taught this nonsense as fact. They're kids. They will believe anything their teacher tells them. They are impressionable, and these predators prey on that. Thank you, sir. Please have a look at the site and give it a share. I think we'll wrap it up for now. Thanks very much for joining us online. Give this a share around. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming down today. Give yourself a big round of applause, okay?
Giving you a big round of applause. Done well.
Thank you, sir.
Pity there wasn't a few hundred people here.
It's okay, there's more than we had last time, so we're grateful for that. But this is, look, like I said, you think I'm out here because I've got nothing better to do on a Friday afternoon.
We've all got something better to do.
You think we're out here because we want to cop ridicule and be called the typical left, the typical woke comeback, oh, you're a bigot, you're a homophobe, you're being insensitive, you're not understanding, and blah, blah, blah. The whole woke ideology is based on victimhood. Don't say anything offensive, don't do this, oh, get stuffed. We've had enough. Seriously. Enough. And just on that, you actually can't give offence, you can only take it. So how about you woke clowns take a cup of concrete and harden the hell up and start to grow a backbone and stop indoctrinating and grooming our children. They'll make their own mind up. They do not need to be taught sexual health matters in primary school. They do not. So please, parents, I implore you, have those conversations with your children. Start asking questions of your teachers. Start informing your teachers of your rights. Your rights under international guidelines and federal legislation. Start letting teachers know they will be charged. Start letting them know if they teach anything to your child that causes mental health issues later on, and teaching them radical gender theory they will be held personally liable. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot bury our head in the sand about this anymore and pretend it isn't happening or it's not that bad. It's bad, and it's going to get worse because the likes of this troglodyte traitor to this country, Jacinta Allan, is hell-bent on indoctrinating your children. $219,000 of taxpayer money spent on her Facebook account when our farmers, how much hay and food produce would that pay for? $219,000 to go feed some sheep and cattle. She wasted on her social media account. Now that's just the Meta account. And she laughed about it. When questioned, she laughed. They have disdain for you. And Jacinta, you've pissed me off now. So I'm going to make it my personal mission to destroy you personally and professionally, and that clown Ben Carroll, who's your education minister. Get used to this face, sweetheart, because you're a child grooming predator and you're a disgrace as a premier. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for your time. Come and get some flyers before you go, and stand around and ask me as many questions as you like. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your support. But you guys here are the start of this. We've been campaigning for this for quite some time. But don't underestimate the power of one single conversation. Don't underestimate the power of one piece of advice or one bit of information. Don't underestimate that. We work on the Shawshank Redemption method. We just keep chipping away until we have achieved what we will achieve, and that is a radical gender theory being taken out of school curriculums and all inappropriate sexual teachings out of the school curriculum. God bless. Much love. Thank you very much.
Well said, mate.
Thank you, sir.
Well said.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Did you get a flyer?
Yeah, got one.
Good
Thank
on you,
you.
mate. Thanks. Spread that information around.
I will.
Can you just repeat that? So this lovely lady who's been attended today, and just give me a thumbs up if you can hear her voice. She just come up to me. Can you just repeat what you told me in a loud voice?
They haven't just infiltrated the education system, they infiltrated the churches. And I went to a church just weeks ago with some information about the communist agenda, etc.
Yep.
And eventually the word came out that it was in a capitalist society, a man has a right to purchase a child. Not just once, I'm thinking, waving my hands. No, we have a constitution. We are under Almighty God. The Bible said in all His truth. She said it 3 times. A man in a capitalist society has a right to purchase a child, and I was just stuck for
Thanks
weeks.
for that information,
Yeah.
Tara. Thank you. I'm going to wrap it up now, guys. I hope you got that. Please give this one a share around. I'm just going to talk to a few wonderful people who have come down. But as I've been saying for the last 2 years, this is vital. This is vital. Do not be fooled by your lying teachers. They're lying to you. They are lying to you. All right? And if you've got a teacher friend out there that says they're not lying, get them to contact me. I'll gladly have a conversation with them. No problem. No problem. Because I'll back what I've seen over 15 years in the education system. They will lie to your face, especially about this issue, and especially the woke teachers. So leaveourkidsalone.org, kids with a Z. Please share that information around in the resources section. Also indefenseofchildren.org is another good site. There was a lot of great information as well too. Thank you guys, much love, and until then.